All right, hello guys. Welcome to your first video. This is over section 1-1, which is variables and expressions. Make sure you have your notebooks out, ready to go. You want to take good notes so that we can talk about this tomorrow. All right, so first slide here, we are going to talk about some important vocab words that you need to know to start off this algebra class. The first one is a variable. Okay, so the word variable is a letter or symbol used to represent a value that can change. Okay, so it's probably a good idea right now. You might want to pause the video, write this down, and then press play as soon as you have that finished.
Also, write down some examples of what you think variables are.
Okay, so it says it's a letter or a symbol. Okay, most of the time in this class we're always going to be using letters, okay? Any letter that you want. The most common one used is probably X, but it's going to represent a value, it says, that can change, okay? So different variables, we said, could be X. You might see the letter N. Can you think of a time we use symbols?
No, we're mainly sticking to letters.
Yes, we're going to use the alphabet a lot here. Okay, so X is going to represent a number. Like X could be 10 in a situation. It could be -30. Okay, but it's a letter that's standing for something else. Okay, the next word is what we call a constant. A constant is a value that does not change. An example of that would be the number 5. Okay, so 5 is a constant. Why? Because 5 doesn't change. If you have $5, you have $5. That's not something that could be different. Okay, 5. Another example would be like 35. Okay, 0. All of those are constants. 0 is always going to be 0. Okay, next word, a numerical expression. A numerical expression is something that only contains constants and operations. Operations here, this word simply means adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So it can contain constants, which we just learned are numbers, and the operations. So something like 22 plus 7, that is a numerical expression. Or -3 times 6, okay? Numerical expression. See if you could maybe come up with a couple others. And then the last one is an algebraic expression. The big difference here is that it can contain variables. Okay, numerical expression was only constants in operation. So an algebraic expression has everything a numerical expression has, except for we can add in variables. So now an algebraic expression could be x plus 7 or n divided by 20. Okay, anything that has variables, constants, just numbers, in any of the operations.
One important thing to look at here is that when we talk about expressions, you'll notice that our expressions do not have one very important part of math, which is, what is it, Ms. Sokolowski?
An equal sign.
Expressions do not contain equal signs, so that's very important to remember.
What do we call something that does have an equal sign in it? That would be an equation. Did you already say that part?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Okay, so here what I want you guys to do is take a little section of your paper and I want you to divide it into 4 quadrants. Okay, in the 4 quadrants we're going to label those addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And what I want you to do right now is you are going to list all of the words that you know of, English words, that mean addition. Okay, whenever you see a certain word you know you need to add in that example. Okay, so well, give us an example, Coach Wallace.
An example of addition would be like the sum of.
Okay, so I'm going to write just the words sum of right there. Now, anything else you can think of, I want you to put in that quadrant, and I want you to do the exact same thing for all 4 of our operations. Press pause, get as many done as you can, and then we'll come back and see how you did. Okay, so here I have placed on the screen some of the different words for all of the different operations. So you may have come up with some that are not on here that could very well be right. Tomorrow in class we can talk about what you came up with that you don't see here. You can talk to your friends about it and see how you did. But these are the main ones that you're going to see a lot. Okay, now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to practice translating these algebraic expressions. Here along the left-hand side, these are all algebraic expressions because they contain variables, they contain operations, and they contain constants. So we're going to take these algebraic expressions and we're going to write them into words using those words that you just put in your notes on the last slide. So if I wanted to read this first expression right here, if I want to write that in words, what do you think it would look like? What do we think?
I think that I would probably say sum, because I already used that one. This is the sum of x and 5.
Okay, let's see, the sum of x and 5. Now, you could also said, you know, something different like 5 more than x if you wanted. Any of the words that we just wrote down you can use in place of that addition symbol. Okay, now look at the next one. If I were going to read that out loud, h minus 3, okay, that would be one way. What's another way that we could say this one?
H less than 3.
H less than 3?
Sure, why not?
No, you can't say h less than 3.
Why not?
Because whenever you see a subtraction sign and you're going to use the word less than, you have to flip the order that you say things. So if I want to use less than, this is really, really important, you guys. If you want to use less than, you have to start with what actually comes second. Okay, so here the 3 is what's second. It's after the h. So we have to start with the 3 and then use the word less than and then h. So this is so important. I'm going to write this down. 3 less than h. Whew, that was a weird looking h. Sorry about that. My smart board's a little messed up. Okay, so 3 less than h. H less than 3 is not okay. This is something that you guys really, really have to learn. That is not acceptable. That means something totally different. Okay, so, right. Very good. Okay, now next one. This one should be easy. Okay, we don't see any operation here. So since we don't see an operation, we automatically know that it's multiplication. So I'm multiplying -7 and m together. So we read that as -7 times m, or another way to say it,
Product of.
the product of -7 and m. Exactly. Okay, and the last one. We don't have too many choices when we're dealing with division. Okay, so here we're just going to say that p is being divided by 4, or you could also say
The quotient of p and 4.
exactly. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to make some connections between the operations and the words that we use. Now we're going to try this in reverse order. What I want you to do is, you see 6 decreased by b given to you. What I want you to do is I want you to take that verbal expression and I want you to write it using our algebraic symbols, operations, variables, just the exact opposite of what we did. So pause the video and I want you to do all 4 of these right now, and then we'll come back and see how you did. Okay, so 6 decreased by b. You should have 6, then minus b. Okay, the next one, the quotient of k and 4. That should look like k on top and then 4 on the bottom. We use a fraction there. Okay, next one, the sum of, we know we're going to add, so you're going to add -3 plus x. And the last one, the product of 2 and r, is going to be 2 times r. Okay, now please let's not do this. Okay?
Uh-oh.
We don't want to use that x anymore for multiplication. We're going to really get out of that habit. Okay, because this x here, we're wanting it to be times, but people are going to interpret that as x being a variable. So it's going to look like you have 2 times a variable x times a variable r. So either just write them right up next to each other, or you can write them in parentheses next to each other. That means multiplication. Or you could put the little dot in between, but just try not to use the x. Okay, and now I just want to uncover a couple of these things over here on the left-hand side. These are alternative ways to saying exactly what is above. It's just a different way, so you can, again, be familiar with all the different ways of writing these expressions. Okay, now here we have 2 word problems. We're almost finished, guys. It says the length of a rectangle is 7 units greater than its width. And the variable that they want you to use for width is W. Write an expression for the length of the rectangle. Now again, it says expression. What did Coach Wallace say earlier today that we don't want to have when it asks for an expression? Okay, what symbol do we not include? We do not ever include an equal sign when it asks for an expression. Okay, so 7 greater than. What does greater than mean we're going to use, Coach Wallace?
Plus.
Plus, very good. So I'm going to have 7 greater than my width. So do I write the word width, or what would I use there?
W.
The symbol W, the variable, the letter, my smartboard's really messed up in the middle there. Okay, so we have 7 plus W, or W plus 7. Those are the same things. Okay, now read this one. Martha is 12 years younger than Cindy. Okay, so who's older, Martha or Cindy? Cindy, exactly. Okay, write an expression for Martha's age if Cindy is C years old. So we're going to start with the older person. The older person is Cindy. So we start with her age, and Martha is 12 younger than that. So am I going to add 12 on, or am I going to take away 12?
Younger.
Exactly. So I'm going to subtract 12. Okay, notice 12 minus C is not correct. That would be, make up a pretend age, and you'll see that order is not okay. Okay, last slide. Evaluate each expression for the given values. A equal to -4, B equal to 7, and C equal to 2. So they're telling you what numerical value they want you to have for each variable A, B, and C. Now the word evaluate, you can kind of see the word value in it. V-A-L-U and then the E. So we want to find the value of what this expression C minus B would be. Okay, so what is C? What did they tell us to use for C here?
2.
2. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 and plug it in for C. Then it tells me to subtract the value of B. Well, go back up to the top and see B equals 7. So I have 2 minus 7, which we all should know is -5. Okay, so 2 minus 7, -5. Next one, number 2, A, C. When they're written right next to each other, what did we say earlier that means to do?
Multiply.
Multiply them. So A we see is -4 and C is 2. -4 times 2 gives us -8. Okay? So that is what we do whenever we're told to evaluate an expression. That's all we have for this lesson. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions, if you need to go back, rewind the video and pause it, rewatch something you weren't quite sure of, then go ahead and do that.